Hello, and welcome to this episode of Inside Tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at quite a few things, including the iPad perhaps going to Verizon. We're also going to take a look at a couple things from D8, including the Steve Jobs interview, which really brought a lot of light on a couple things, as well as perhaps we have some pictures of the final shipping version of Xbox 360 Natal. Lastly, we're going to go over the somewhat complicated new data plans from AT&T. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad or really any AT&T phone that needs a data plan, you'll definitely want to stay tuned. Anyway, let's get this one started. Okay guys, so let's begin with one of the bigger stories, which is that the iPad might possibly be going to Verizon. So guys, there's a lot of different reasons behind this. I'll go ahead and go over what all started off. Boy Genius Report just reported that they had a high-level source they trust a lot that said that Verizon is currently testing a CDMA, which is the kind of network that Verizon is. They're testing an iPad with that. So guys, this is pretty big news. I mean, we've heard iPhone rumors going to Verizon, which seem to be getting more and more and more lately. I mean, it's looking pretty confident that there will be an iPhone on Verizon. But now they're talking about the iPad might be going to Verizon as well. Now, of course, the iPad's a little bit differently. Of course, it's not like with the iPhone where you can't get, an unlocked iPhone or whatever, really. You have to get it for AT&T or whatever. Whereas, the iPad, anybody can get a Wi-Fi model. So the 3G is not a huge deal, but it's still definitely something you'll want to keep an eye on. Now, kind of linking into this was last night at the D8 was that Steve Jobs did an interview, which is pretty rare for him. He talked about a ton of stuff, guys. I definitely recommend go ahead and check out the link in the description. Go ahead, there's a bunch of video highlights from the whole event. There's a lot of stuff he talked about, and I won't even try to get into everything. But one of the more interesting things I thought was that they started asking him, some guy was like, he lived in Houston, and he was saying basically that, they can't go 1 minute without, talking on, without a dropped call on his iPhone. And, Steve just basically said, yeah, I know they're working on it, he actually got a couple of jobs in on AT&T. He's like, things get worse than they get better, then they're about to get way, way better. So guys, there's a lot of things, but one of the interesting things was that they asked him, do you see a benefit of having more than one carrier in the U.S.? And he said, yeah, maybe. And then they're like, well, maybe will that be happening soon? He's like, I can't comment on that. So that, guys, that's, it might not sound like a lot. Coming from Steve Jobs, he's very, cut and dry usually. He'll usually say, no, that's not going to happen. Or, he'll be a lot more firm than, it might be a possibility. So guys, I really expect between, that brings a lot more credibility to both iPhone and iPad possibly coming to Verizon, in my opinion. Another thing from D8 is that Project Natal, the hands-free motion control for the Xbox 360, was shown off yet again this morning. But this time, it just might be the final shipping version. So as you guys can see in the pictures here, it looks very similar to what we've seen in the past. It's going to be probably about a foot and a half long. It's going to have a couple of cameras and sensors on it. But guys, it looks pretty cool. Now, of course, this is what we've seen, and it's very, very likely that we will have full details, price, all that kind of good stuff at E3 this year, which in just a couple weeks, I believe. But the main thing really is that the price. They've talked about the price, and a lot of people seem to think that it will be a lot of money. I've heard $150. I've heard, you can get it with like the Xbox 360 Arcade, which would be $300. Natal is really great, and to be honest, I don't see, the amount of tech that's involved with it, those are prices that make sense, for the money part. But guys, I don't know if I can see them selling a ton of them with it being that expensive. Okay guys, so now we're going to take a look at the new AT&T Data Plans. Now, they've really just changed it up a lot. Gone is the standard, $30 for unlimited data. Although if you do have that plan currently, you can still keep it. But now they have two new plans, the DataPlus and the DataPro. Okay, so the DataPlus is somewhat similar to what you could get on the iPad right now. Basically, you pay $15 a month, and you get 200 megabytes of cap. With the DataPro plan, you get it's $25 and it's a 2 gigabytes plan. So guys, this might not seem so great, but then you look into it and actually it's pretty decent. Now with the overage, it's a pretty good deal. If you go over that 2 gigabyte cap, sometimes with other data plans you actually get charged a ton of money. They're actually not going to charge you that much. They will charge you $10 more for another gigabyte. And if you need more than that, then they'll just charge you another $10 on top of that. So guys, it's not like some plans where you go over the 2 gigabytes, you go 2.001 gigabytes, and that's $50 extra. So it's pretty decent. Now guys, the last thing which is lumped in with all of this is the iPhone is finally getting tethering for sure. So basically, it's very simple. With the DataPro plan, you get for $20, you go ahead and can have your iPhone tethered. So this would be on top of the $25. So guys, if you have an iPhone or any other phone, but it's obviously the iPhone is probably going to be the biggest one, for $45 you can get the DataPro plan with 2 gigabytes a month, and you can also go ahead and have it tethered. And that's it for this episode of Inside Tech. I'd like to thank you for watching. I've got a question for you guys. What are your thoughts on the Verizon iPad? Would that make you be more likely to go ahead and buy an iPad? Is that one major reason why you don't want to get an iPad 3G because you don't want it on AT&T? Definitely, guys, let me know in the comments. Personally, I don't think the iPad 3G plan on AT&T, it used to be not so bad. Now, I'm a little unsure about it now. I like unlimited data. That's just something I like. But guys, just let me know in the comments what it would take for you to get a Verizon iPad. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.